So today we are going to see the second chapter, that is acids, bases and salts. So already you know something about acids, bases and salts. That is acids, they are generally it is sour in taste, bases they are bitter in taste, and salts they are ionic compounds formed as the neutralization reaction of an acid and a base. So here in this lesson we are going to cover topics, that is acid, base and what is meant by indicators. In this indicators we are going to see about a new indicator called as olfactory indicators and some reactions between acids and bases with the metals and with each other, and reactions of metallic oxides with acids and reactions of non-metallic oxides with base, and what is meant by the term pH and what are all the importance of pH in everyday life, and chemicals that is prepared from common salt. So these are all the general topics that is covered in this lesson. And before going into the topics, we should know what is meant by an acid, what is meant by base and what is meant by an indicator. So in general, acid, it is derived from the Greek word acidos, and it will change the blue litmus paper into red in color. The best example for acid is hydrochloric acid, sulfuric acid, nitric acid, acetic acid. These are all the common example already you studied in the lower classes. And what is meant by base? It is bitter in taste and soapy to touch. It will change red litmus paper to blue in color. Best example for bases, that is these examples already you studied in lower classes, that is sodium hydroxide, potassium hydroxide, ammonium hydroxide and calcium hydroxide. And what is meant by indicator? So indicators are of two types. One is synthetic indicators and natural indicators. Natural indicators, from the name itself you know it is prepared and occurred naturally, and synthetic indicators means it is prepared from the chemicals in the laboratory. There are some examples for natural indicators and there are some examples for synthetic indicators, and a new term in this indicators called as olfactory indicators, that also we are going to study in this indicator chapter. And the next thing, what are all the examples for synthetic indicators and what are all the examples of natural indicators? Synthetic indicators, I already told, it is prepared in the laboratory, that is man-made preparation, blue litmus paper, red litmus paper, methyl orange and phenolphthalein. So already you know about blue litmus paper and red litmus paper, and two new indicators called as methyl orange and phenolphthalein. Natural indicators, already I told, that is litmus paper, turmeric, red cabbage leaves, that is it is prepared from the cabbage. These are all the examples of synthetic indicators as well as natural indicators. And so here in this indicators we are having, that is indicators, natural indicators, the color of the natural indicators, and when it reacts with acid what will be the color, and when it reacts with the base what will be the color. So if you take blue litmus paper, the natural color of the blue litmus paper is blue, and if it reacts with acid it turns red in color, and if reacts with the base it remains same, there is no color change. If you take red litmus paper, it will be in the natural color is red in color. If it reacts with acid it remains the same. If it reacts with the base it turns blue in color. And if we take methyl orange, the natural color of methyl orange is orange in color, and if it is an acid it is red in color, and the base it is yellow in color. If you take phenolphthalein indicator, natural color is colorless, acid it remains colorless, in base it will give pink in color. Turmeric indicator and red cabbage leaves indicators, both are natural indicators. In naturally, turmeric indicator will be yellow in color. In acid there will be no change. In base it will be reddish brown in color. Red cabbage leaves, natural indicator, color will be purple in color, and acid it will turns reddish color. In base it will be giving greenish blue color. By seeing these tabulations, in acid what is the color of that particular indicator, and in base what is the color of the particular indicator, by seeing this we can tell there is any changes taking place in the acidic solution or basic solution. That is, indicator will indicate the changes, that is called as acid base indicator. And next, a new term indicator what we are going to see is called as olfactory indicators. Olfactory indicators means in previous indicator, that is synthetic and natural indicators, usually with the help of color change we can identify whether the solution is an acidic or basic. So here in this olfactory indicators, with the help of odor, that is smell, we can tell whether there is a change occurs in acid or base. So we can define the term olfactory indicators as these are the substances which change their odor when they come in contacts with acid or a base. So the smell will be changed. That is, best examples for olfactory indicators are onion, vanilla essence, clove oil. So onion, usually in acid it will retains the smell. If you add some base, that is the smell will be very less. In vanilla essence, same, in acid the smell will be vigorous, and in base the smell will be less. And clove oil, in acid it retains the smell, and in base the smell will be reduced. Clove oil is prepared from the clove. So from this we can tell, with the help change of the odor, that is change of the smell, we can identify whether the substance is acidic or basic. So already three types of indicators we have studied. One is acid base indicators, in that synthetic indicators as well as natural indicators, and finally olfactory indicators. And the next topic what we are going to see is, that is reactions of acids and bases with the metal. That reactions we are going to I am going to explain with the help of a small activity. So here we are going to take a test tube. In the test tube we are going to add 5 ml of dilute sulfuric acid. The formula of dilute sulfuric acid is H2SO4. And here in this test tube we are going to add few zinc granules. Granules means it will be in the form of a small pellet like structure. And next what we are going to see, that is observation. At the surface of the zinc, what we are going to observe. So here some gases will be coming outside from the test tube, and that gases, with the help of the delivery tube, we are going to pass in the beaker containing soap solution. So in that soap solution, when the gas evolved, if it passes means bubbles will be coming outside, and that bubbles is due to the evolution of hydrogen gas. If we bring a burning candle near the bubble, that bubble will be started to burst with the help of pop sound. That is, this is also the test of hydrogen, and here that is hydrogen gas is evolved outside. So the reaction between acid and a metal, it will give salt plus hydrogen gas. That is, acid what we are taking here is hydrochloric acid or sulfuric acid we can take, and metal what we are taking is zinc. The salt produced will be zinc chloride, and hydrogen gas will be coming outside, and with the help of the pop sound it is coming outside. That is, hydrogen gas is evolved. This is also the test of an hydrogen gas. So here we are adding a base, that is base plus metal. Base, here I have taken sodium hydroxide, metal means zinc, and here the product obtained will be salt plus hydrogen, that is sodium zincate, plus hydrogen gas will be evolved outside. Sodium zincate's formula is Na2ZnO2. So here is the diagrammatic explanation of this experiment. That is, we are taking a small test tube. In the test tube we are adding zinc granules, either sulfuric acid or we can add HCl. So the bubbles coming outside is passed through the delivery tube, and the bubbles which is passed through the soap solution, and small bubble like structure will be coming outside. That is called as, due to the evolution of hydrogen gas, if we bring small burning candle to this hydrogen gas, automatically hydrogen bubbles, automatically the bubbles will started to burst with the help of pop sound. So this reaction is also the test for hydrogen gas. So this is the reaction of the metals with. Next thing what we are going to see is reactions of metal carbonates and metal hydrogen carbonates or reacts with acid. So here what is the equation it will be taking place means, if we take metal carbonates or if you take metal hydrogen carbonates, the product obtained will be a salt, carbon dioxide as well as water. So here we are going to perform with the help of the small activity. So here I am going to take two test tube. One test tube we are going to label it as A, another test tube we are going to label it as B. So in A test tube I am going to add 0.5 grams of sodium carbonate. In B test tube I am going to add sodium hydrogen carbonate, that is one is metal carbonate, another one is metal hydrogen carbonate. Here sodium is the metal. In both the test tubes we are going to add 2 ml of dilute HCl. And next what we are going to see means we are going to leaving the test tube for some times and we are going to observe what gas is coming outside. After some times the gas will be produced in both the test tubes and that gas produced is passed through the lime water. So lime water, if you pass that gas, here that lime water will be turns into milky white precipitate. So here is the reaction, that is in test tube A I have taken sodium carbonate that reacts with the HCl. The product obtained is sodium chloride, that is a salt, water and carbon dioxide. So in already I told, if you take any metal carbonate, if you react with an acid, it will produce a salt, water and carbon dioxide. And test tube B I have taken metal bicarbonates, that is sodium hydrogen carbonate or sodium bicarbonate that reacts with the HCl. It will produce same salt, that is sodium chloride, water as well as carbon dioxide. The evolved carbon dioxide through lime water, that is passing this carbon dioxide gas, it will form a white precipitate. That precipitate is called as calcium carbonate. So that reaction I have written down, that is lime water means it is calcium hydroxide. Usually it will be in the aqueous state. AQ means aqueous. If we reacts with the carbon dioxide, it will be in the gaseous form. The product obtained is white precipitate, that is the precipitate will be settled down in the test tube and water will be at the top. So this is the reaction between the metal carbonates as well as the metal bicarbonates. So here is a diagrammatic explanation for this experiment. So if you see this diagram, we have taken a test tube, 2 test tubes, or if we take one test tube simultaneously, another test tube. In the test tube I have added, that is hydrochloric acid, as well as we are adding metal carbonate, and if you test the gas which is coming outside, if we pass that with that is beaker test tube containing calcium hydroxide will be settled down. So carbon dioxide gas is evolved outside. So this is the diagrammatic representation of this reaction. And this reaction I have explained here, passing excess, if you supply excess of carbon dioxide to the following same reaction, this metal carbonate or metal hydrogen carbonate, again it will be forming a bicarbonate, that is calcium carbonate plus water. That is in previous reaction the product obtained is calcium carbonate plus water plus carbon dioxide. Here the product obtained will be calcium hydrogen carbonate. It is soluble in water, that is aqueous product will be obtained if we pass excess carbon dioxide to the solution. And the next topic what we are going to see is acids and bases reacts with each other. So here also we are having one activity. So this reaction, otherwise we can call it as neutralization reaction. So what is meant by neutralization reaction means an acid if reacts with a base, salt will be produced and water will be produced. That is called as a neutralization reaction. So here we can perform this activity with the help of a small test tube. We can take one test tube. In the test tube I am adding dilute NaOH 2 ml and we can add 2 drops of phenolphthalein indicator. So phenolphthalein indicator is, and already you know it is a synthetic indicator. So if we add phenolphthalein indicator and we are note down what is the color change. So what will be the color change if we add phenolphthalein indicator means that we are noting down. Again the pink color will be appeared. So in base the pink color will be appeared. Again to the same test tube if we add dilute HCl, that pink color appeared will be dissolved. That is pink color will be converted into colorless. So here a base is neutralized or nullify the reaction of an acid. So we can tell this reaction as a neutralization reaction. So here we can write the equation for this reaction. So to the same above test tube, again if you add sodium hydroxide, the pink color again it will be coming backside. So here if you take HCl and in the test tube we are adding NaOH, so the product obtained is a salt and water, that is sodium chloride plus water. Salt is sodium chloride and water is coming outside. This reaction is called as neutralization reaction. And the next topic what we are going to see is reactions of metallic oxides with acids. So here I am going to tell what is the reaction of metallic oxides with acids. So here we can write the general equation, that is metal oxide when reacts with acid, same salt and water will be produced. So here we can take, in a small beaker we can take copper oxide. The formula of copper oxide is CuO, and we can add slowly HCl to this solution. So here in our general equation I told we are going to add acid to the oxide, that is metal oxide. So acid, here what I am taking is hydrochloric acid. So you know formula already, that is HCl, and product obtained will be salt as well as water. So the salt obtained will be copper chloride, that is the color of that salt will be light green in color and water will be produced. So this is called as the reaction of metallic oxides with acids. Here also salt and water will be produced as the product. Okay, so our next topic what we are going to see is previous topic, metallic oxides reacts with an acid. Here we are going to see reactions of non-metallic oxides with base. So here non-metallic oxides, we can write a general equation. When non-metallic oxide reacts with base, it will produce salt as well as water. So here I am going to take a non-metallic oxide, that is we can take carbon dioxide, and the base what I am taking is calcium hydroxide. Product obtained is same salt and water, that is calcium carbonate as well as water will be produced outside. So these are the reactions of metallic oxides with the acid and non-metallic oxides with base. So here the next thing what we are going to see is water of crystallization. And what is meant by the term water of crystallization means, that is we can define the term fixed number of water molecules present in one formula unit of a salt. For example, here already you know that is copper sulfate pentahydrate, that is formula for copper sulfate pentahydrate is CuSO4.5H2O. So here 5 molecules of water is attached with copper sulfate. This is called as water of crystallization. So this is also the new term you have studied. And next topic what we are going to read is, what do all acids and all bases have in common? So in common or in general, what is acids as well as bases commonly it will have. So for this to happen, we are going to do a small activity. We are taking a solution of glucose, or we can take the solution of HCl or sulfuric acid, etc. So whatever solution you want you can take. That we are going to take it in the beaker, and we are going to fix 2 nails on a cork and place the cork in a 100 ml beaker, and connect the 2 nails of 2 terminals with a 6-volt battery through one end of bulb and switch we are fixing. And here we are adding HCl in a beaker, and just we are just switch on this battery, and here the bulb will started to glow. So how this bulb starts glowing? So this is a diagrammatic explanation of this, that is we are taking a beaker, 2 nails we are taking, that is attached with a 6-volt battery, and we are connecting that with a bulb and a switch, and we are adding HCl, and one rubber cork is present. As soon as if you switch on the battery, the bulb will started to glow. So here what has happened inside the beaker, that I am going to explain. So in general, acids, that is we have taken here HCl acid, it will dissociate into hydrogen ions, that is we can represent hydrogen ions as H plus ions, which is responsible for dissociation, and it will be conduction of electricity, and it is acidic in nature. So with the help of this dissociation only, the bulb starts to glow. So I will explain once again. So in that we have added hydrochloric acid. The hydrochloric acid will be dissociate into H plus and Cl minus ions, and H plus is called as hydrogen ions, which is responsible for the conduction of electricity, which is acidic in nature. And next thing, how bases, what are all the common thing present in the bases? Same we can take the best example for bases, sodium hydroxide. So sodium hydroxide, how it will dissociate? We can dissociate the sodium hydroxide into Na plus and OH minus ions. So OH minus ions is a base, and this is called as hydroxide ions, which is responsible for conduction of electricity, and it is basic in nature. So acids, it is converted into H plus ions, and bases means it is converted into OH minus ions. So both is responsible for conducting electricity. And next topic what we are going to see is what happens to an acid or a base in a water solution. Suppose if we add acid or a base to the water solution, what is happening? That reaction we are going to see. Acids already know H plus ions will be produced, which is dissociated in the water solution, and bases will produce OH minus ions. The same example what happened in the beaker, that example itself we can take. Same HCl we can take, that if it reacts with the water, it will produce hydronium ion, or we can tell as a H plus ion. Usually H plus ions cannot exist alone. It is exist as H plus or H3O plus, and this is the reaction when it acid if it reacts with water. Suppose the same if a base reacts with the water, what happens? For example, we can take sodium hydroxide. This sodium hydroxide, if it dissociates into water as Na plus and OH minus ions. So OH minus ions is a base. So we can tell all bases do not dissolve in water, and alkali is usually a base that dissolves in water. Common alkalis, what are all the best examples for common alkalis means the above said example, that is sodium hydroxide, potassium hydroxide, calcium hydroxide, as well as ammonium hydroxide. So we can tell like it this way also, all alkalis are bases, but all bases are not alkalis. So this is the reaction which is happen when acid or a base when reacts with water. So we can tell base means it is hydroxide ion, that is rich in hydroxide ion, or we can tell it in another way, more hydroxide ions. Acid means it has more hydronium ions or rich in hydronium ions. And next topic what we are going to see is about universal indicator. So already we have studied about acid base indicators, olfactory indicators. Here we are going to tell what is meant by an universal indicator. So it helps in determining the strength of the acids or a base. So for this to determine, we can going to use one term called as pH scale. What is meant by the pH scale? So always you should write the pH scale, that is P in the lower case and H in the uppercase. So it is defined as a scale for measuring hydrogen ion concentration. CONC means it is concentration. So by using this, we already calculated what is the pH value of a neutral solution, acidic solution, basic solution. This is already familiar to you. For neutral solution, it is equal to 7. For acidic solution, it is lesser than 7. For basic solution, it is greater than 7. So the strength of the acids and bases depends on the number of H plus ions as well as number of OH minus ions, that is hydroxide ions, or you can take it as hydroxide ions or hydronium ions, which is exist in the water. And next topic what we are going to see is how this pH plays a vital role in our day-to-day life. So already you know that in our human body we are having, for digestive system we are having hydrochloric acid, which is helps to digest our food what we have eaten. So in so many pH values are there. So I have given some limited pH values. The human body pH values ranges between 7 to 7.8. Usually the soil pH value ranges between 5.5 to 7. pH of acid rain, if you take, it is lesser than 5.6. So in this, how it is playing a vital role in our day-to-day life. First topic under this we are going to see is pH in our digestive system. Stomach usually produces HCl. It helps in digestion of the food what we have intaken. So during indigestion, suppose if you have taken excess amount of food or oily food, your stomach will be upset and indigestion will be happening. For that indigestion, we are going to take some basic substance. That is how this indigestion happens means due to the excess secretion of hydrochloric acid. For this indigestion to rectify, we can add antacids. So antacids will neutralize the excess acids which is present in the stomach. So the antacids what we can take is magnesium hydroxide. This also you have studied in the lower class itself. And next, how this pH change as the cause of tooth decay. Usually if you eat chocolates or if you eat sweets more means automatically your tooth will start to corrode, that is tooth will start to decay. Suppose if the pH value is below 5.5, it will start to get corroded. So in order to avoid that corrosion of the tooth, we have to use the toothpaste which contains a basic material for cleaning the teeth in order to prevent the tooth decay also. So in order to avoid corrosion of your tooth, we can use a basic rich containing toothpaste. And self-defense of animals and the plants. So if you see the bee sting, usually and the leaves of some trees, if you take the bee sting, if it started, suppose if the bee sting, if it attacks any person means automatically it will cause pain as well as irritation. In that irritated place, if you add baking soda, it will relieve the pain as well as it will relieve the irritation. And these are all the general introduction about the importance of the pH that is playing in our major vital role. The last topic in this lesson is chemicals that is prepared from the common salt. So common salt in the sense here I am talking about sodium chloride. So in that sodium chloride we can prepare various chemicals, that is various raw materials we can prepare, that is called as sodium hydroxide, baking soda, washing soda, bleaching powder. All the products which is prepared from the common salt is having a peculiar property which is also used in the day-to-day life also. For example, if you take baking soda, it is used for bakery purpose, as well as we are taking that for if you want to prepare any crispy oily food, we can add this baking soda. Washing soda we can use for cleaning or washing purpose. Bleaching powder especially it is used in the bathrooms cleaning, and it is also used in the hospitals also. So it is various important things we can prepare with the help of this common salt. So the first thing what we are going to see is sodium hydroxide. So this we are going to perform with the help of a small experiment. So here this process is otherwise called as chlor-alkali process. That is, it is forming a product chlorine and alkali will be produced in this process. So here just we are taking a beaker. In this beaker we are taking aqueous solution, and that aqueous solution what we are taking is sodium chloride. Sodium chloride is otherwise called as brine solution, and we are passing some electricity to that solution. This sodium chloride, it will decompose to form the product, that is sodium hydroxide, chlorine as well as hydrogen gas will be coming outside. Chlorine will be given off in the anode and hydrogen gas is given off in the cathode. Sodium hydroxide, the product obtained, will be formed near the cathode. All the three products, that is sodium hydroxide, chlorine, hydrogen, all are useful products. So from sodium hydroxide we can prepare useful products also. And second common salt what we are going to see is bleaching powder. So bleaching powder is otherwise called as, the formula of bleaching powder is calcium oxychloride, that is CaOCl2. So already in above reaction, that is in sodium hydroxide preparation, the chlorine it is produced in the above reaction. That chlorine is used for the manufacturing of this bleaching powder. So here we are going to take that above formed chlorine, that is react with the slaked lime, that is calcium hydroxide. It will form the product calcium oxychloride, that is bleaching powder plus water will be coming outside. So the uses of the bleaching powder already you know, it is used for hygienic purpose in order to kill the germs, pest, as well as for cleaning hospitals. Wherever if you want to be hygienic, we can use this bleaching powder, especially for cleaning bathrooms also. And next topic what we are going to see is about baking soda. Baking soda means it is sodium hydrogen carbonate, that is called as baking soda. That is, the formula of baking soda is NaHCO3. It is used in the kitchen for making tasty crispy items. We can add, if you add baking soda, the crispiness of that oily items will be more. So how we are preparing means, we are taking sodium chloride, and sodium chloride if it reacts with the water, carbon dioxide and ammonia, the product obtained will be ammonium chloride as well as sodium bicarbonate. This sodium bicarbonate, again if you heat, it will form another product, sodium carbonate, water as well as carbon dioxide. The product obtained is all very useful products. And next topic what we are going to see is about washing soda. That is the sodium carbonate which is obtained above reaction, that is in baking soda reaction, that we are going to recrystallize to give washing soda. That is that sodium carbonate formed in that baking soda reaction, if it reacts with the water, the product obtained is Na2CO3 dot 10H2O. This is called as washing soda. And next topic what we are going to see is water of crystallization. What is mean by water of crystallization? That is a fixed number of water molecules present in one formula unit of a salt. That is called as water of crystallization. For example, you can take CuSO4 dot 5H2O. That is 5 water molecules present in one formula unit of CuSO4. This is called as water of crystallization. And next last topic in this lesson is about plaster of Paris. Plaster of Paris means how this plaster of Paris is produced. Just we can heat the gypsum. Gypsum on heating, it loses its water molecules and becomes calcium sulfate hemihydrate. The formula for that is CaSO4 dot half H2O. This is called as plaster of Paris, which is used for supporting fractured bones in the right position. When plaster of Paris is mixed again with water, it changes into gypsum, which is converted into a hard mass. So the equations of this plaster of Paris is CaSO4 dot half H2O. When it reacts with water, the product obtained is calcium sulfate plus 2H2O. The product obtained is gypsum. So the topics, what are all the conclusion of this lesson? That is, in this chapter we have studied about acids, bases as well as salt. So now you know what is mean by an acid and what is the change when it reacts with the litmus paper, it will convert, and what is mean by a base, and what are all the changes happening if it converts with the litmus paper, and what is mean by salt. And from the salt, what are all the useful products obtained also you know. So we have studied about indicators, olfactory indicators, universal indicators, everything we have studied, and what is mean by the term pH, and what are all the importance of pH we have studied in our day-to-day life, and the pH range of the soil, as well as what is the remedial measures if the pH acidity is more, means what type of basic material we have to add. That also we have studied, and what is mean by the term plaster of Paris, and the recrystallization of water, and some reactions between acids and bases. So these are all the overview of this lesson. Thank you.